And good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning,
What
good
up, what up,
morning,
what up?
everybody. It is Tuesday, the 17th of December, and this is the last HR morning show of 2024. I am joined by my incredible co host, Danielle, and this guy, Joel, over here.
Yo,
And
yo,
we are
yo.
thrilled to bring you the HR morning show. What's happening, gang? Ladies first. Danielle, how you feeling?
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling good. I can walk in 6 days. So
Wah,
that
wah,
is a
wah.
win. That's a win.
That
Yeah,
is a win.
and I'm gearing up for a trip. I'm going to Aruba on the 30th.
Aruba,
Celebrate the
Jamaica.
new year, ring it in with some
Now,
fam.
how are you going to keep the sand out of your cast? Do you have like a bag you're going to wrap it?
Actually, either I get a brace this week, so I won't have a this boot. I have a boot.
That's both.
But yeah, I haven't figured that part out yet.
Well, we will.
Feel free if anyone has any suggestions for how to keep the sand out, let
Yeah,
me
just
know.
don't go to the beach. Just sit by the pool. That is Joel. Any suggestions for Danielle how to keep sand out of her boot?
Do not go outside. In fact, cancel the vacation. Send me an Adam
Smart.
instead.
Yeah,
That
we
is
need a
the only
vacation.
way. That's the only way you can protect it. Guys, get in the chat. Let us know who's out there as well. We got Roxana in the house. Hello from Paris. I mean, we're going international with this. I love it. I want to know who else is out there. Remember,
Bonsoir.
this is a real life show.
We're live.
Like
We're here.
It's a
sometimes we have
cool way to
technical
spell
issues.
Roxana.
We're out there and we don't want to just shout into the void. So let me know if you're
Well,
coming live from my page, Adam's page, Danielle's page,
that's right.
or the Purple Acorn page.
That's right. And everybody out there, if you want to find out more, head over to purpleacornnetwork.com. Follow us on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. We're a podcast, so you can check out all your favorite podcast providers. And we're here every Tuesday, except for the next 2 Tuesdays
Oh,
of the
we
year.
got
But don't worry, we have something cooking for you guys. Joel, what do we have cooking for them the next couple of weeks?
we got Brian Fink in the house. That's what we got
Finkster.
cooking.
Yeah.
No, we have got our predictions for 2025. Okay, now I could give you my prediction right now. The job market will be brutal.
I
That's
disagree.
basically every video I do. Just kidding. No, it will hopefully get better. But we got Casey in the house. We got Brian. We got Kirsten
Uh-huh.
Krebs in the house.
Womp
What is
womp.
up? We need to get you live again. We got Benjamin Sheffield in the house.
But
Said I'd be joining the Finkster and saying hello, listening to
Oh,
yeah,
Lauren. Hey, Torin in the
what's
comments.
happened? Torrin Ellis, my man. Oh, I have a couple of
keep shouting.
personal announcements. I have a couple. There is one place that you will find. There is one place you will find the Purple Acorn HR Morning Show crew live one more time this year. It's going to be Friday the 27th, 2 o'clock Eastern time on the podcast end of year wrap up. So definitely head over to check that out. Brian Fink. We have a whole crew. Stephanie Lowenstern. My kids are joining us. First time my son Ali is making his podcast premiere. So
Let's
head over
go.
2 o'clock next Friday. Shameless plug over there. And we have more Purple Acorn shows. We have a slew of shows coming up. Matt Alder Hour. We have so many amazing shows on this network. So please check it out. And if you don't like us, you'll like our other shows a lot better. Trust me. No, I'm kidding. It's great. Danielle, more importantly, what's in the mug?
Oh, I made myself. Anyone want to take some guesses? It's not a matcha. I made myself a mocha. Can't open it. I don't have the strength right now,
A
but
mocha.
it's a mocha, and I made it with this like adaptogenic hot
The hell does
chocolate
that
powder. Yeah, I
What does
made
that actually mean, though?
It's a Gen Z serum that
it has
never left
mushrooms.
their
It has mushrooms in it to help me think because my brain fog's been really bad. So
The lion's
it's funny
mane
now.
activates my neuroplasty and the ability to. Are you microdosing lion's mane? Is that what's happened over there?
Yeah, I'm microdosing mushrooms.
Well, you should macrodose the HR morning show. Let's get to it, everybody.
Let's
It's
go.
time for. What time is it? It's all about the HR predictions, and I'm going to go through them because when I start with the first one, it's going to sound like I'm reading Joel's TikToks. And the first one here is internal mobility will be a crucial money saver. And Joel had a post, and I agree with it. It sounds like clickbait, but it's not. Why focus on outside hiring when you have so many good people in your company? And if you're potentially going through layoffs, upskill people, it is a lot more cost effective to move someone internally than for an outside hire, right, Joel?
Well, look, the reason I thought of this, I was getting my oil changed the other day, and the business owner came out and he told me a story, and I'll tell it to you briefly. He's owned the
Please.
business for 25 years. Has he scaled it to 200 employees? No, but he's gone from 2 employees to 30 employees.
That's a huge increase.
And I said, well, and he also said that our retention's really low. I said, well, how
Hmm.
do you keep the retention so low? How do you keep people engaged? He said, it's really simple. I invest in training in my managers. I said, really? He says, yeah, I pay $3,000 a month for my 3 managers to go through business training, business
Mm.
coaching.
Wow.
This is an owner of
Owner
a
operator,
auto
yeah.
mechanic store. And I said, you know what? You've
Shop.
tapped into something that some people, there's CEOs of billion-dollar companies that wonder why their retention is so low. And then you say, well, what are you investing in your current employees? $5 gift card at Christmas. So I think this is where I honestly think if you have talent, you hired them for a reason. You need to be investing in them. You need to be investing in their development.
Pause on that for a second here. We want to get some feedback from the audience here. In your companies or companies in the past, what have you seen positive, investment in their people? Let's get that conversation going. And
Give us
kind
a
of
heart emoji if you have received if you've received this type of training. Is that what you're asking?
right.
Well, I asked on my TikTok, I said, to all my Gen Zers out there who are employed by a company, what do you want your company
Money.
to invest in you? And they all said money.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's
And
not
look,
that
and
hard.
there's levels, right? But I think what he said my managers know that I care enough in them to invest in their future because I also want to give this business to my employees in the future. And he said for every investment he makes, he gets it back because they're just better
Of
at business.
course.
They care more about the clients. They care more about their own development.
Well, listen, culture comes down to two things, right? It's feeling valued and having a clear career path. And when you're investing into your people like that, that's what you're going to get, and that's how you're going to build up culture. Second point on here, employers will avoid generic recognition schemes, right? It's the same kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
here's a $5 Amazon card.
Or
Nope, not
here's like a nudge on the Slack channel, like, great job. It's like,
great
what
job,
drives that?
Danielle. All right, moving on. Skill trends will respond to AI implementation, as it says here, as AI is growing. Blah blah blah. Candidates, I mean, employees. It's not just the ability. Hey, I've used ChatGPT before, but it's really knowing how to put it in a business sense and context to add value to what you do in the organization. Right? Oh, I use ChatGPT. Okay, what does that mean to the business?
Yeah.
Reskilling, upskilling. Danielle, what do you think?
Well, when it comes to AI, I think that, I was at the HubSpot conference this year and like this one line stuck with me. And it's like the CEO of HubSpot, she was like, AI helped us speed things up and speed up how we do things. But in 2025, it will completely transform the way that we do things. And I think that's true. And I think it'll kind of extend into the hiring space. Hopefully, we change the way that we apply to jobs and all of that. But in the meantime, I actually think that AI will enable HR to be more proactive in their approach to retention, engagement, and I share more about my opinion on that one in the wrap up show, in the prediction show that Serge hosts next week. So,
Ooh, a little teaser
little
going
plug,
on there.
little plug.
Yeah, Joel, what's your thoughts on AI? Something you don't usually use?
I love AI. No, I think I saw an interesting article about the Klarna CEO. I'm sure you guys saw that, where he
Yeah.
said basically he had 4,500 employees and his company's just been shrinking and they've been replacing a lot of those jobs with AI. I did a video on it recently. I really think even in this downtime that we have over the holidays, if you're not exploring and playing around with AI, whether it's chatting with a chatbot to understand how it gets its data, how it's
Mm-hmm.
responding to you, whether it's looking at AI agents, which are going to be a huge thing. I cannot tell you how many AI agent recruiting companies have been reaching out to me in the last 2 weeks, literally 10 to 15. And an AI agent, for anyone that doesn't know, is literally an agent that will do something like screening calls. So you set the questions, you set the parameters of what you want each person to be screened on, and the AI agent has the ability to be able to call 2,000 applicants and do that. But it goes deeper than that. Imagine for candidates not having a black hole of communication, but being able to reach out to the AI agent and say, where is my application? What's the feedback I got from the hiring manager? These things are going to start to take place. And if you don't have a knowledge of it, and if you don't know how to implement this into the businesses you're serving, that to a Klarna CEO, to most of these CEOs, they will replace you. So I think you have to really understand what are the things AI is gonna help you with, And like Adam said, being a consultant to the business and being on top of this,
Add value.
it's crucial. Adding value is huge. And if you're like, well, I don't like that, then guess what? AI can help you as a small business owner. It helps me, helps Adam, helps Danielle. There's lots of ways that if you wanted to go off by yourself, AI could be really, really useful to you and help you in your own business.
You have to embrace it. I mean, I tell the story all the time where I've been doing my podcast for almost 6 years now, and I had 4 people on the team to do audio, video, social clips, and everything. If I wanted to today, and I've one incredible employee on staff here, but if I wanted to, I have all the tools at my disposal to be a one-man shop here with the AI. I'm talking about show notes, viral clips, and everything. So work smarter, not harder. Add value to your team. And that's also like future-proofing yourself in your career too, right? When quote-unquote AI is going to take your job. No, like if you know how to use it properly and be able to articulate to the business how it could help them and add value, that's going to future-proof you.
Yeah, become an expert in how AI enables that specific role, because then it, other people can then learn from you. I'll also say on the skills, on the upskilling conversation, I posted a video about this, but I do think that because AI is coming in and has come in to work, much of the younger generations are already leveraging AI. They might not be talking about it publicly, but they are. And I think that organizations, instead of building, new learning and development programs to help people with hard skills and learn how to use AI because it's moving so quickly, I do think that instead of that, they could be and possibly will be and are already investing in upskilling people and those younger professionals in the human skills and the communication and the negotiation and all of the things that will enable them to actually be really productive members of the
Hey, we got a
organization.
coffer in the background.
Yeah, can we? Anyone who's not on the screen, I mean, our incredible team here, just please mute your microphones.
Evan White. That's Evan White.
Evan's
So
just
anyway,
hacking.
I got a lot of backlash for that, but
Why?
I do think that because obviously there's all these people in the comments being like, well, we were never trained in how to communicate, and it's like, well, you got to meet people where they are. You have an entire generation that lost out on 4 years basically of traditional, in office experience.
Nope.
That's never going to be replaced.
Never.
We got Sharik asking it, and I want to address because he's asked it multiple times.
Yeah, get in there.
How much time will it take for AI to completely eliminate the need of recruiters?
Let me take this
first
one.
thing first. Yeah, go ahead, Adam. Let's get personal.
No. Joel, make your comment because I know it's at the tip of your tongue.
No, it's all
I
good.
can keep mine in my head for a moment here.
You go.
Here's the deal. Listen, I was at the ERE conference, and you guys could all check out my conversation. It's live now on the podcast with the legend, Kevin Wheeler. And Kevin, during the presentation, had 8 stages of recruiter evolution moving forward into the future. And we're kind of at stage 3 right now where recruiters are embracing the AI tech. They're figuring out how to use it. But we're going to get to a point. I predict in the next 5 or 6 years where 75-80% of recruiters could be obsolete. Asterisk, unless they upskill and make themselves more valuable. The lower level functions of recruiting, the admin, the sourcing, the initial screening, a lot of the outreach and automation, that's all going to go the way of AI. What hopefully that'll do is enable more time for the human contact in the process. Now, that's hopeful. There's going to be a lot of companies that are going to see the big dollar sign in front of it saying, hey, just like back in the day when all these big giant companies decided to outsource their call centers, right? And what happened? They outsourced it. The quality went to crap, right? Yeah. And then they got the backlash, and then they went back to the human side of it. And hopefully it's going to happen, right? That's the evolution. But here's the big but here.
Big but
coming up here. The companies that really focus on the human side are the ones that are going to win. And the ones that use the AI as a tool and not a crutch to make it more efficient and effective, to give more of that human time, that's what's going to happen. Danielle, thoughts?
I mean, we talk about this on the prediction show, so I'm not going to spoil it all. But I think 2025, the human side of anything, whether it be sales, be marketing,
of course,
it's going to shine. And people, I think, are starting to really see the value of community and of providing value to people and then letting them come to the table and be like, oh, wait, what do you do again? And have them lean into the conversation. I think when you think about really the point of marketing, The point of marketing is not just to sell, someone a product that they don't need. The point of marketing is to sell the right product to the right person. And you won't get that unless you get to know that person and their needs.
Q of Fink's comment right there. Yeah, exactly. Building real relationships never dies.
Well, this is, I think we've already began to see this in sales. I talk to a lot of I follow a lot of these sales influencers on LinkedIn.
Like who?
Like Scott Leese, he's a great example of
Yeah,
it.
Scott's a good
And
guy.
what he always talks about is how sales has transitioned from just like a cold function where you're like cold emailing, cold calling, and a lot of it now, a lot of sales is done through like partnership relationships and referral business. So it's like, it is like, to Brian's point, the relationship never dies. Look, all it takes is for a generation to come in that just goes, you know what? I'm not responding to DMs. Imagine if no one responded to LinkedIn DMs. Then
Well,
what? What's AI going to do? What happens when when Gen Z goes, you know what? I'm just not going to answer any phone calls unless I know the person. Then what does recruiting look like? Is AI gonna like, how does AI come in then? And I think what the danger is a lot of the tools that I hear about, they have reduced recruiting literally down to the complete top of funnel, and you miss the relationship, the rapport, the understanding people. You miss the workforce planning, and you've reduced recruiting literally down to a resume with an open position.
right, and there's no fact checking on that resume either, right? There's no human contact to really understand the candidate's motivation, what they're looking for, right? That true.
It's keyword stuffing. That's what even
all these job application tools are just stuffing keywords, relevant or not.
And you have like a tool like Teal's a great example, right? Where you can match up the resume to the job, and I think that's great. That's great in theory, but
it's factually correct.
Exactly, and I was thinking about even skills like
what's Roxana saying there?
Naming HubSpot, like putting HubSpot on a resume. That's not a skill. Like just saying HubSpot or
Yeah,
hey,
I
Python.
HubSpotted.
Like, what have you done with your skill? Anyway, we could get in a whole rant.
All
but
right.
I will also say, going back to also the channels that we're using to recruit, you look at influencer marketing as an example, you niche down, you get to the audience that you're looking for, and then you get incredible results because it's also a new and novel approach to recruiting.
It is.
So I think it's only going to continue.
Let's continue. Let's continue. And guess what time it is? Because I'm curious on Clark's take for it. It's time for
Clarky. What's up? Is the clock officially started? I was supposed to say start the timer. Perfect segue. I love you guys getting fired up about AI. We're talking about volume today and how people actually overestimate what you can do in a day, underestimate what you can do in a year. And part of that is volume. Now, there is a purpose behind having more volume, right? You have to, digital recruiter, we're helping recruiters get more quality clients and candidates into what all three of you were talking about, building that relationship and AI covering that top of funnel. That top of funnel is important, but I agree that is where the automation really should end, right? And you have to have the niche, right? Clarity is critical to your marketing, as Danielle pointed out. And we talk about the mechanics of automation, the importance of content, but here's what trips up people and most recruiters is they don't stick with it. They don't appreciate how much intentional volume every single day can do for you. I mean, you could send over 6,000 connection requests in a year. That's 15 a day, right? There are ways to do a little bit more than that. Right? You could have 100 posts over the next 12 months. That's 2 a week. Imagine your network effect of those 6,000 people, 1,500 of them connected, 25%, right? If you're pretty honed in on your niche, that's pretty doable, pretty manageable, right? And then they have the ability to see up to 100 of your posts. They probably won't read all of them, but that volume, right? That awareness, getting out in front of your ecosystem that way, networking, you're going to be able to find a few dozen leads in there, whether you're searching for more clients or for more candidates, and then really invest that time to build a relationship, as all three of you were saying, which is super important. So I'm really glad it was the topic before the Hot 100, because it was a perfect segue. So again, most recruiters, they have trouble with their outreach for 2 reasons: lack of clarity in a niche and lack of volume, right? But you can change that every day. Oh, time is up.
We have a shot clock now.
Dang. I got
You're
cut
going
off.
deep today.
I got cut off like I'm taking the SAT. What do we think, Al?
Joel, what say you?
Well, unfortunately, I got logged out of the system.
Yeah,
so I
me
didn't get to
too.
have the conversation.
Oh, you guys didn't hear anything I said?
I got DOS booted.
I got
man.
to the end where you said most recruiters' problem
Something.
is they're not
Yeah,
niche down.
Let me give you a recap. It was if you send
10, 9, 8,
6,000
7.
connection requests in a year, maybe 25% people connect. You get 100
Right.
posts in front of them,
Right.
right? Of your new ecosystem, right? Second and third degree connections, but you automate some of that top of funnel, but you get out in front of the marketing. And from there, the
Yeah.
DMs become more organic. You get more inbound. You
Yeah.
actually start building rapport with people in your market. So again,
course, yeah.
systemize the top of funnel so you can interact, have more of a human approach in the
Yeah.
medium and bottom of funnel.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know what I feel about when it comes to content. I'm all about it, and you know, I think if you're doing,
Really?
what'd you say, 2 a week? You said 2 a week.
I mean, at minimum, yeah.
How about
Minimum.
8 a day is on his TikTok,
Look,
right?
I think 2 a day minimum. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Like, I think if you're thinking that you're gonna get people's attention, and I don't think it should be 2 a day on LinkedIn. I should think 2 a day everywhere. Just put the same content out everywhere. Adam's
this
giving
is
me the
Joel-
squint look.
Joel, I'm trying to read your updated headline there. Joel, the clickbait lousy.
Look, the amount of
Here's advice.
people I've had
Best fisherman in the business right
of
there.
HR at multi-billion-dollar companies say to me when I'm on a call with them, they're like, "Oh yeah, I found you
I'm on
on
a call with
TikTok,"
you.
and they didn't even find me on LinkedIn. They actually found me on TikTok, and then they went to LinkedIn because my average age of followers is over 45. You know, I'm on Facebook now. You should be on every platform because the content. Oh, this is what's gonna happen. All the content is the same. It's the same. Like, people think like you have to act one way on LinkedIn, another way on this platform, that platform. Dude,
You have to
it's
alter
all
the
same.
content a little bit for the nuances of a platform's
well,
content, but
my
That's arguable.
audiences are different on different
Well,
platforms.
that's your own fault because you've created your own audience differently.
ooh.
If you put the same content out, you would have the same audience. I'm just
But Joel, if you're everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody.
well,
If you're everything to your niche, then that's
exactly.
funny,
If
Pat.
you look, if the job seekers on LinkedIn are the same as the job seekers on Facebook, they want a job. There's no difference. It's
Correct.
You know, so I get what you're saying, Danielle, but that is seriously, that's a product of you have created different styles of content on those platforms. If you created the
Little
same
debate here on the HR Morning
across all
Show.
if you created the same platform, the same content across platforms, then you'd have the same audience.
Yeah,
mean, just,
I
you know.
agree. I think it was partly intentional because I was like, oh, it'd be great to have an audience on Instagram that I could poll and really understand what they
Joel's
think.
polls.
That's younger, and then on LinkedIn to like bring those insights.
Sure.
I mean, I have a mix, but
Oh, cool.
dominant.
Clark, final thoughts for 2024 from Clark Wilcox.
You set up your systems now, right? If you're thinking, how do I get 5 a week or 2 a day, like Joel's saying, this is a good time to learn that. You know, people, it can be hit or miss with communication. So find something to invest in. What we talked about training already on this show, and investing in yourself or in your team, right? If you don't know how you're going to get those connection requests, how you're going to get that content out there, how to resonate with your audience, go find someone who can help you.
Go find someone. Clark, what's going on for the holidays? What's the Wilcox family tradition?
We're going to New Jersey to see some drones, and my sister.
My buddies were shooting them down over Long Island. We were shooting them down into the water. It was great. We were doing that last night. We drank some non-alcoholic IPAs, and we just blasted them into the ocean.
Yeah, we're gonna bring my son's Nerf gun out and see what we can knock out. But yeah, it's that'll be the exciting adventure for the next week or so, and you know, relax a little bit and get ready for next year.
Clark Griswold's Christmas family vacation. We're into it. Clark, we appreciate you. Thank you for all your contributions in 2024.
Thanks, y'all.
Catch Clark and the Clarky 100 coming back at you in 2025. Clark, take care.
See y'all.
Be good.
Bye,
Happy
Clark.
and a healthy holidays to you and your family.
Okay.
Time for-
Yeah, we got some major events here. We got the HR Roundup online.
Yeah.
First of all, we want to give a special shout out to Kirsten Greggs, who was just on the show last week talking about the rockin' around the recruiter tree. We have some great guests. We got Christina Mignard, Darian Baker, V. Richardson, Tiffany
Boom.
Toussaint,
Boom.
and Clifton James on the lineup. So go check that out. I believe that's going to be hosted on Kirsten's page.
Yeah.
I believe, right? And definitely want to check
Talent
out.
Collective.
And you got the Shark on there too, Rich
Shark.
Rosner, the staffing
Oof.
shark, the legend. That guy is amazing. If you have not connected with
Legend.
Richard, you need to go connect with him. So definitely go check that out. What else do we have for events?
Next slide.
We got the Evolve conference. And our own Rona Pierce is going to be speaking at the Evolve TA and HR experience. I know a ton of people who are speaking. Fink, I know, is going to be out there. We got Trent out there. Who else we got out there? Let me know in the chat if you are heading to the Evolve TA and HR experience. This promises to be a different type of conference. Why?
Joel,
Adam and I are not there.
Joel, there's also anybody out there, guys. You could save. There's a discount code there. Please check it out. If you're in the Atlanta area, this is a fantastic one-day conference.
Rona 10. That's the
Morgan's
only way
doing
you
this
can save. That's the only way you can save. Rona 10.
Rona 10.
Rona 10. So
Rona
that's in
10.
person. It's going to be a different type of conference, right? I love that. You know, it's going to be a different feel. So let us know if you're heading out there. And we got Mike Staffy in the house.
Staffmeister, the Staffaroni.
Look at that.
We also have TA Week coming up in February. We're working on some plans here. You might see some of our friendly faces out in San Diego. We're working on some plans for TA Week. We're going to get out there, and then we start the gauntlet. We start the big boys. You got Transform. We got Unleash. We got a whole bunch of things coming up. Yeah, Danielle, what else? What's on your radar, Danielle? Been quiet over there. All that lines is getting to your head.
No, I'm letting you guys talk.
No,
you
it
guys
was the comment about the social media, the strategy. That was it. It's okay.
I dropped my spicy takes, and then you did the.
Well, we want to know in the comments, what are you guys planning for 2025? What's on your radar? What do you have planned personally? What are you investing into yourself? What's your company investing into you? What events are you going to be at? Where could we find you? And please, if you're at any of the events, find us. We'll be the loudest people in the room. Trust us. One of the three of us are really loud. We're all really loud human beings. You'll find us. You might find Serge somewhere if he's allowed to cross the border.
Serge in the corner just talking
the surgeon. The surgeon of LinkedIn.
I love
Surgeon, Turgeon, LinkedIn. Let's get to it, guys. It's time for the Global Report. Let's keep it moving. Hello. We are back with Lynn Bailey and Tracy Parsons. Good morning, ladies. How goes it?
It goes. We are pushing into the very end of this year. I'm so almost done.
When do you guys check out for real? Like, what's your checkout day? Tracy, when are you off the grid?
Last week.
Oh. Are you in an echo chamber? What's happening there?
We have a really big room for a really big office, and it's just a little echoey. My apologies. And then I got loud, and it made it worse.
Nah, it's all right. Lynn, when are you done?
Officially,
when are you not smart recruiting?
When am I not smart recruiting? I'm always smart recruiting.
Winston's always watching. Winston's watching.
He is so much now. I'm like, let's not go there. So many things happening. No,
all the ones behind her. I mean, like she literally has an audience of Winston's watching. They're always
everybody's watching for the win. Well, let's get to it. And listen, so many hot topics, so many buzzwords of 2025. But one that really, personally, that I've been taking a lot of stock in and talking about is a candidate experience. And we're talking about actionable solutions here. And really, let's talk about how the industry could address the systemic issues leaving 96% of candidates in negative experience. Why, ladies, is it so hard to get something that's relatively simple right?
Because companies don't really give a shit.
Whoa. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, we can have this conversation again and again and again for like the last, I don't know, like I feel like I've been having this conversation for like the last decade. And there are all of these polite and proper things we're supposed to say about this. But at the end of the day, because they care to.
I have to agree with you on that, right? It's like a second thought. It's an afterthought. And the companies that win are the ones that prioritize the candidate experience. Listen, Tracy, keep me straight here. That first contact that a potential new hire has starts with that first email, that first response, the first call with an internal recruiter. The companies just butcher it.
It's not even that. It's even further up the funnel, Adam. Like what we're seeing in our research is voice of the candidate research is that we oversell and underdeliver every day.
No.
So I want you to think about the current candidate experience is a microcosm of the Mean Girls movie. So like everybody wants you to sit at their table. Come sit at our table. On Wednesdays we wear pink. We want you to come join us. We're so amazing. You're gonna just, you're gonna interact with unicorns all day. You're gonna change the world.
So many ninjas, rock stars, and unicorns here.
Okay, and then as soon as they hit that send, submit, or apply button, you can't sit with us. Like if you look at the minute that they hit that, the change in tone of communications from "we want you to sit with us" to is jarring.
Well, I mean, think about this. What's the report say? Numbers don't lie. 1.25 offer rates means most candidates end their journey with rejection. Now, listen, that's true regardless, right? You can only hire usually one person that applies, right? So that number is like, that's it. 100 people apply, one person gets a job, 99% rejection rate. But it's how you reject them and how you communicate with them, right, during that process.
100%. If we could start filtering and screening people in and out in the earliest stages of the candidate experience, you will have fewer disappointed people. And that's kind of what we should be into, is fewer disappointed people, because we're going to run out of new names, because the job market and the job seekers are not infinite. They're not multiplying. And neither is our messaging. Like, our messaging is so one size fits none. And then we have to reject 99% of people, because I think that, to Lynn's point, not only do companies not care, if you couple that with the insatiable appetite of hiring managers for "let me see more."
Hi.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, listen. In end of the day, this is a design flaw that we have yet to fix. We get what we measure, right? What do we measure? We track volume and numbers because it's a measurable thing, and so it makes us feel really good. It's like, how big are our application numbers? How big is our volume coming in? How much intake am I getting from different sources? Right? At the end of the day, volume is not the winner in this, right? It is having the right people at the right time in the right space.
It's a quality
I think
experience.
it's going to start solving some of these problems for us. This is not. I'd love to say. I mean, I know it. I know everybody wants me to say it. Yes, people should be better at being people better, treat people better, do all these things. I gave up on people a long time ago. People aren't going to do it, and we're just going to have to put in AI systems to treat people better.
Where does it start, though, right? It starts at the top of the C-suite, right? Why do so many companies get it wrong? Is it because they're thinking that recruiting and people are not a cost center or profit center? Is that it? Like, is that such a skewed thought? Like, your people are your product, are your profit. Like, why can't we shift that paradigm?
Because at the end of the day, I still track people on a spreadsheet.
And I think it's
no, maybe I should have gone on vacation last week.
You're about to be on vacation. But, I mean, let's talk about the missed opportunities post-offer, right? A significant drop in sentiment from job offer to onboarding. So there's gaps in the transition. I've seen so many companies do really well in the interview process and then just bomb. I mean, I have horror stories from pre-pandemic where people would come in to the office, no computer, no office, nothing was set up, and they're literally sitting there for 3 days. Their email hasn't been activated. Like, these are simple things to execute.
Well, it's also think about the psychology of getting your offer letter. Like, you've been on the job market, you've fought your way through this process that drained your soul, and then you get the offer. So you're like, okay, something good happened. I'm really excited, and then you have to give notice, which is scary.
Right.
And then there's a 2 to 4 week period where you're just kind of going, oh crap, what do I do now? And then you know that you're going to show up on the first day of school. I mean, work, and it's going to be getting to know all these other people. So we do absolutely almost nothing between that offer letter and that onboarding to introduce them to the company. If you guys could do one thing for me, but after you get back from the holidays, because I'm clearly out of pocket, if we could start ramping up our communications from offer to start, to introduce them to people in the company, to introduce them to the culture, to help them
onboarding,
to allay those fears and anxieties of going into something that is new. And despite being a good, interviewer and a good job candidate or a good job seeker, you still are walking into something that you don't know enough about.
You want to make them feel welcome and comfortable and set them up for success. It's not that hard. Alin, what's building superhuman hiring all about?
Feel like that came out of nowhere. All right, building superhuman hiring. Superhuman hiring goes to this comment I was just talking about before. Listen, we've been at this game for a really long time, guys. I think we are finally coming to the point where technology is going to allow us to do things that we've always said we wanted to do, but we had all sorts of excuses and reasons why we didn't do it. Too much time, too much effort, cost too much, not enough people, all of those reasons. And I think that technology is now hitting that intersection, and superhuman hiring is saying, act like a human, be a better person, but use technology to help support you executing, and that makes you superhuman.
It does. Tracy, how are we going to shift this narrative?
I think that we're going to shift it through more intense listening and telling people the truth. Just like Alin is saying, like, companies don't care and job seekers know that. And it's time that we understand that job seekers know that we don't care. How do we make them care? And how do we start marketing with empathy? Right? Like, how do we start acknowledging and remembering? It's so crazy that every single one of us that works in this industry, every single one of us has been a job seeker. And then we get to the job and forget how to be a job seeker and forget what that feels like. If we can take that level of empathy into our work every day, if we could be the person that we needed when we were a job seeker, if we could just do a little bit of that every day, find a little bit of that every day, it's going to shift the narrative. Because it's about being superhuman. It's about remembering what this is.
Let's set that intention. The companies out there, let's just do better, because these are low cost, high reward things. It doesn't cost much to do better in the process. It takes some thinking, and it takes some focus, and it takes some integration, and all these things they're free. They're free. They're just things you need to do better at, right? They're free. They don't cost anything.
Yeah, just a little effort, a little thought. You got it.
A little thought.
I told my kid years ago that the secret of life, and this is the secret of life according to me. The secret of life is deciding. Mm-hmm. If we decide to make this a better experience, that means we have to commit to it. That means we have to do something every day to be better at it. But the secret to making this better is deciding to make it better.
And doing it.
Executing on that.
Doing it.
Right. It's one thing to say something. It's another thing to do it. Make shit happen. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, ladies, let's. This has been a great year. First and foremost, thank you to our friends over at Smart Recruiters. We love this partnership, this relationship that we have, bringing so much value, knowledge, and insights week after week. Alin, thank you so much. Tracy, thank you for joining us the last couple of weeks. Nice addition to the squad. We're gonna have to do something about your echo chamber room, though. We'll take that offline. But, ladies, I would like for you to each leave us with one intention, personal, professional intention for 2025. Tracy, you're first.
Okay. My intention was set last week before I started to wind down the year. I am going to focus every day on making this fun. It's supposed to be effing fun. What we do is find people jobs, find people purpose, and connect them to their life.
Yes.
So every day I'm going to infuse my work.
Snapping's not working. Love it. Alin.
Diversify.
Ooh, diversify. Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
It
felt right when it came into my head, and I just went with it.
But if you say it times, that's what makes it a real.
Right. I do. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I wish everyone a happy and a healthy new year. Happy holidays to you and your families. Enjoy it. Rest up, because we're going to come back even better and stronger in 2025. And companies, please take the hiring experience and make it better. You're losing so many good candidates. You're losing everything. Just work smarter. It's not that hard.
Just do better, people.
Do better, people. Well, awesome. Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you to our friends over at Smart Recruiters. Happy and a healthy holidays and a wonderful new year.
You as well. Thanks.
I have another call coming in. Caller ID, I don't know who it is. Oh, hi, Madeline. How you doing?
Hi, Adam. I love that. This is so fun. I've just been sitting here listening.
Well,
And
we haven't started our conversation yet. Your mind may change in a couple. And so welcome to the HR Morning Show. Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone out there? Tell us who you are and what you do best.
Sure. Thanks for having me on. My name is Madeline Lurano. I'm an analyst and I do research on HR technology. I'm the founder of a company called Aptitude Research.
How'd you get into this space? I mean, did you just like roll out of bed after college and you're like, this is what I want to do. I want to be an HR analyst. Now, how'd you get into it? Let's dig in a little bit.
Yeah, it was my childhood dream. No,
You drew pictures of it in elementary school, whatever that looks like when they're like, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I want to talk about Oracle and SAP. No, I don't even know how I did not go to school for this. I did not go to grad school for this, and then ended up working for a company like studying globalization and global workforce. And then I ended up just really liking the tech space. So here I am.
Awesome. So let's talk about your report that's out there, TA Tech Budgeting. What's it all about? Give us a TLDR on it.
Yeah, so it's on how companies can and talent acquisition leaders can budget better for 2025. And, the idea is really to think more like a CFO and less like an HR leader. It was interesting, it doesn't sound like the most exciting, the sexiest topic in the world, but we did the research. We do research through surveys, and then we do research through a lot of interviews. And the survey response was great, but also it was really interesting and shocking to me because we found that 64% of TA leaders fear that their budgets are going to be cut for next year. Only 38% have the confidence for budgeting right now. And then 1 in 3 feel that their budgeting is being wasted. So it's sort of this very tricky situation as we're in kind of budgeting season or even thinking about budgeting for next summer. And, it's feeling like I might have my budget cut, but I'm also not really happy with what I've spent my budget on in the past few years.
So let's pause on that for a moment and talk about the effects or reasons of these. Is it economic? Is it what are the factors that are driving these numbers down? Where TA and HR leaders are not getting the financial support within their organization. The goals aren't changing, right? You still have X amount of hires, X amount of confidence scores and other survey results, but we're going to cut your budget. And when we say cut your budget, does that mean cutting the TA budget to get things done, or actually budgets for hiring and bringing on new employees?
It's everything. So I think it's this fear that all budgets are going to get cut. I love the technology space, so I always like to kind of look at, okay, are budgets getting cut for TA tech? Companies are going to be hiring more in the next 5 years. Like if you look at a hiring curve, like we know that companies will be hiring more and that's going to increase. And at the same time, there's this fear that budgets are going to decrease at the same time. It sort of doesn't make sense. If we have to hire more and do more work, why are our budgets decreasing?
You always want more with less, right? I mean, isn't that kind of the corporate mantra? Cut, increase, metric deliverables.
Exactly. And there's a lot there. I was talking to a company, it was a tech company, and they had around, I believe it was 400 TA professionals pre-pandemic. During the pandemic, hiring has not changed for them. It's been pretty steady, but they had new leadership come in and their TA team went down to 30 people. So that's a significant cut. Now everyone's overworked. They don't really have
more with less. It's more with less.
More with less, exactly.
So what's the solution? What's the path forward?
I mean, I think it's starting with having very transparent conversations. I think you asked why this happened and why we're in this place. I think one reason is the pandemic. We spent tons of money on everything. So companies were buying, everyone's going remote, people were buying tons of technology, nothing was integrated, nothing was implemented correctly.
They want that shiny object, right? It comes down from the CEO. Oh my God, we got to buy that newest, latest, shiniest AI tool. Yeah. But no one's trained on it. We're not using it for anything. And it's a big time and money suck.
Right. And then they're just chasing the next shiny thing. So I think there's almost like an embarrassment around, okay, a lot was spent and we're not using it and we're not seeing any value from it. But I think that's okay. I think we're in a place where we can have an honest conversation. I had to interview a CFO as part of this research, and his advice was, let's just have a conversation with everyone about what's wasted. He's like, I would much rather hear a TA or HR leader come to me and say, this is wasted spend. We're not using this technology. Let's figure it out together and find a solution. I'm more likely to give budget there than I am if we're trying to cover up what actually doesn't work.
All right, so Madeline, let's make some predictions for 2025. Are we still heading down the wrong road, Or is there a path forward in the right direction?
I think there's a path forward in the right direction. I think that, everyone's going through transformation. Budgeting is part of that. Again, it doesn't sound like the most exciting piece of it, but if we can align more with what our priorities are, with what the business priorities are, I think there is a path forward. I think it's open conversation.
What's the next kind of big aha takeaway report that you're working on for early 2025? Let's give some alpha here.
Well, I see Torrin Ellis is on, and he just published a great report on looking at reducing bias using AI. So it's a very positive approach to AI. So that is coming soon. So you definitely want to check that out. I'm working on an updated report on talent intelligence. That seems to be the area that's confusing everyone right now. So
what does talent intelligence mean? I mean, I've had some great conversations with experts in this space, different platforms. I'm not going to plug their companies out there, but what is talent intelligence for anyone who's not intelligent enough to know what talent? No, I kid. What is talent intelligence?
Well, I think the challenge is like everyone's using it, right? Like everyone loves the word intelligent because that sounds great and positive. So we're seeing now every single person is using intelligence as part of something that they're doing. But talent intelligence is really insights, and it's using data, it's using AI, it's using skills to be able to draw insights to better understand your workforce and your complete workforce. So it's, the benefits are to talent acquisition, talent management, to workforce planning. It's using, the data that an organization has, but it's using external market data as well. So if you think about like a system of record, like Workday or Oracle or SAP, a system of intelligence is what takes that static data, draws insights from it, so you can take action on it.
All right. So, Madeline, leave us with one personal intention, one word of positivity for you heading into 2025.
This is such a good question. I'm stuck on Lynn's diversify because I actually really like that. So I want to talk to her more about that. I think hope. I mean, you said it. Oh, do we have hope for next year? I think that's a great place to be. I think hope is a wonderful thing, and
I agree.
I think that's what I'm going to go.
Listen, this time of year is all about faith and hope and thinking positive and surrounding yourself with people that give you faith and hope. So I want everyone out there, take the time this year to recharge the heart, come back stronger in 2025. Madeline, I want to thank you for joining us. Where could folks find you? Where could they connect? Where could they learn more?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. You can go to aptituderesearch.com. We publish a lot of reports. My partner in crime, Kyle Lagunas, is very well known.
Oh, yeah. That's my dude. Yeah. I love hanging out with him at events. I mean, if you want to check that out, you better join us at one of these events next year. Hope to see you.
Oh, yeah. I'm there, too. I'm just
Where are you going? You don't. You stay in your. That's it. When it's over, you don't leave the room.
I'm out. I think we divide and conquer, so we kind of split. There's lots of meetings, so we divide and conquer. But
lots of meetings.
I've been out in the background. I'm not as probably memorable as Kyle.
Well, awesome, Madeline. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you and hope to see you back on the show in 2025.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, everyone.
Happy and healthy New Year. Take care.
Thanks, you too.
I think it's time for Joel.
All right. What is up, guys? We want to give a special shout out to our one and only sponsor. One and only sponsor. I should not say that.
Yeah, don't say that.
The best sponsor there is. ERIN in the house. Which way am I pointing over here? Look, we just had the Sloth for Sloth program, which basically was given back to the community. Got a ton of gifts. We got almost 100 gifts that we're delivering to children during the holiday season, which is huge, right? It's been a really, really tough year. I know I talk about it a lot, but like for people who are on the job market, it's tough. I think with inflation, it's just, let's be honest here. The last couple of years have been challenging. So big shout out to ERIN for giving back.
Thank you, ERIN. Thank you everyone over there. Massive.
Where's my sloth? Let me get my sloth real quick. Give me 1 second.
Here's my sloth ball because I only have this, but I have my red shoes on. I always wear them. So thank you, ERIN. But listen, guys, any company out there, pay it forward. You have the ability to do it. Help out your local community. That's what matters.
You can get your own sloth if you go to purpleacorn.io/free. So just copy and paste this thing on the bottom here. But get your own sloth. I'm telling you right now.
Get your own sloth.
My kids love the sloth. So if you got kids, these are
or
if you are a kid,
or if you're cheap and you need a gift for the holiday, just get a sloth and
this is my kids' Christmas gift this year.
My kids are getting 8 nights of sloths for Hanukkah.
I would never give mine away.
Every night they're getting a sloth.
But special shout out to ERIN. And if you don't know what ERIN is,
ERIN.
too, ERIN is the #1 employee referral
Yeah.
system. Now, look, guys, I love recruiting. I'm the realist recruiter. I'm all about
Realist.
recruiting. But the first question I ask on any search is, do your employees know anybody that could be a good fit? It's just overlooked all the time, and especially in some of these really tough industries like healthcare, manufacturing. If you tap into your employees, they can be your recruiters too. And I always say, if your employees are not recruiting people, it's a big red flag. So get in there, gamify it, check out ERIN. You need to check out ERIN today and get your sloth at purpleacorn.io/free.
Thank you, ERIN. We appreciate you. Hey, it's getting a little chilly in here. I think we need to go check the weather.
Well, I love that song. Good morning, beautiful people. On today's weather report, I have a segue from the global report because it's a time that we finally fix employee pre-boarding and onboarding in 2025. So let's all make this resolution going into next year. So no more employees showing up on day one and their equipment is not set up. That is so stupid. It's so easy to do. We just have to be intentional about it. No more employees having lunch by themselves on day one. There's not a sadder scene than walking into the lunchroom and that employee sitting by themselves and there's a clique of employees sitting at the table next to them. It looks like a scene out of Mean Girls. So definitely recommend that you bring them out to lunch. You make that day special. Also, let's not have them sit in front of a computer to do all day HR training. That's not a good first day impression. Obviously, we all have to do that training, but let's spread it out a little bit. I definitely think we can do better. So how about we do this? We plan beyond day one. What does the first 90 days look like? How do we make it personal? How do we give it that personal touch? Let's get some nice swag on their desk or shipped to their home if they're working remotely. Let's go shake their hands, introduce ourselves. Let's make sure they feel welcome. And let's leverage like real basic technology and make sure that they have all their forms, their document, everything signed off on day one so they can actually start working and start onboarding right away. So I can't emphasize this more. Proper onboarding is absolutely critical. So your first impression counts. Like we've all started a job on day one and it's really crappy onboarding, like it's disjointed and we're like, did I make the right decision? Should I join this company? We can avoid that. Also, if we onboard them effectively, it makes them productive quicker, which I think we all want as a business, right? And the other thing, poor onboarding is the #1 reason top performers leave. So we spend all this time on attracting and getting them on board, then we give them a crappy experience when they start, like of course they're going to leave. So strong onboarding process isn't just about welcoming new employees, it's about setting them up for long-term success. So HR, let's fix this shit in 2025. Let's do onboarding right. That's the HR weather. Let's get to the panel.
Is it cold?
Yeah, it's cold. It's like -20 Celsius, which is.
What the hell does that mean? Like 4?
He's not doing the weather anymore because it's just always cold.
Yeah.
It's always cold. It's always cold here.
But does anyone do you drink non-alcoholic IPAs by the fire?
like Joel.
I do. Definitely.
He had 6 packs. He had 36 non-alcoholic beers.
That's right.
Well, if we compare the alcohol levels in Canada to the US, it's a pretty big difference.
I went to school Buffalo, man. Those Molson Triple X's, whoa, dude, you have 1 or 1.5 of those, you're good to go.
You're done. Well, it was great.
You're boring me. You guys need to stop talking about beer.
But right, like I mean, we talk about candidate. Like, back to candidate experience, man. Like again, like it's a theme. It's about why is it so hard to do something so simple right?
Well, how about we do this? Anyone with a horrific onboarding experience of anywhere where you work? Does anyone have?
Yeah, well, I tell this story a lot because it's a good one. But essentially, I was being onboarded and I had to wait 3 weeks to meet my manager.
Okay.
And I was also, it was remote. And I also was asked in like, that onboarding doc of like all your information and do you have allergies? And I filled out, I don't eat gluten or dairy. And the next week, I got cupcakes delivered to me that I couldn't eat. And I was just
You
like,
had one job.
I was like, I'd rather you not have sent me anything than to have received cupcakes that I couldn't eat that I had to give away.
Why
And
don't you give
it's
them
just
tonight?
kind of like, if you're going to ask me for my information, then use it. Like, don't just ask me and, require me to put time in to your stupid survey that you don't even read. It's ridiculous.
Let's not name that company.
I'm not, but
We'll all go into
they're not doing
Danielle's
so well.
LinkedIn right now to check out who she
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
For.
Well, they did that,
I want to know.
They did that
I want to
yesterday
know
on my post, right?
Well, I want to know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Give us a heart emoji if you have had a bad onboarding experience at a company.
That guy right there. Shout out to my man Jason, Michael Wallace, the legend. Love you, buddy.
Also, I will say if you don't want like the negative flack, right? Like you just said, oh, go to her LinkedIn profile, whatever. Like, yeah, you could probably figure it out, maybe. But at the same time, it's like that's all the more reason to just treat people well and like to
Not that hard.
It's not that
Yeah.
hard. It's not that hard. The example I just gave, it's not that hard to do it the right thing.
If you're asking somebody to do something, use that information. Like it's not rocket science.
It's crazy.
I had an onboarding experience at a recruitment agency that's not on my profile. Maybe there's some of those employees listening right now, but I was onboarded with another person, and she was brand new to the area. Got a little bit lost on the way to work, and we were onboarded by two, let's just say, up and comers.
Goons.
And they publicly embarrassed her and said, "Why are you don't?" I think they said, "Don't ever come to work late again. This is a red strike against you."
Wow.
Guys, she just moved to the area and got lost. Like, this is how you're gonna put her in her place. in front of me?
Welcome.
I was like, dude, this is, and I even said it. I was like, guys, come on. I was like, dude, it's our first day. I was like, you seriously gonna be like that? And then I should have known within 3 months of working there, they had hired and fired 5 people because it's classic, old school recruitment agency. But I'm like, how does doing things like that, like those are red flags? And I think candidates, people who are getting hired, look, they may still be interviewing at other companies. They might still have other interviews going on. So like your onboarding is just part of the recruitment process still. If they get another offer and you treat them poorly during the onboarding, they might just go with that other offer.
I've seen it. No, I've seen it.
Yeah,
Man.
happens all the time.
What do we have? So we've got a couple people. So Casey looks like has had a bad experience. And then Danielle, it's terrible when you walk in on your first day and nothing was prepared for you. I didn't have a workspace on my first day.
I've had that. It's terrible. You're like, where do I go? What do I do? And it's an initiative by whoever hired you. That's your job. It's to onboard the person you hired.
Welcome buddy.
Or the welcome basket.
The welcome buddy system again.
The welcome buddy thing is real. You do it with somebody that's not on your team, somebody that you could ask kind of off the record questions to, and like, hey, where's the best place for lunch? But more stuff like, hey, what's it like working with this? What do I need to know about like the leader? What's the best way to approach HR if I have a situation?
Who should I know?
Who should I know? Let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a real quick story. 2006, working at Sirius XM satellite radio. My boss at the time, Debbie Ernst, the first day I was there, and we're talking about 3 floors of a giant corporation, she spent 2 hours and walked me around to everybody and introduced me to everybody sitting at their desk in the company. It was the best thing she ever did. I was able to go up to those people. They knew who I was, and I thank her for that. And if I'm ever back in a big company, which I don't think will be ever, that's what I would do, and I recommend it. Take that time and walk that new employee around. Yeah. Make them feel welcome. Make those introductions that you've already established. Transfer that relationship power. It's not that hard.
You hired them.
Yeah.
You hired them.
How about onboarding remote employees? What else should you do that's different than in the office?
I don't know about that. Slack?
Slack? Yeah, set them up on Slack. I think to your point, Danielle,
I've only
ask for their information. And send them something nice, like send them swag. Obviously, don't send them a cupcake that you can't eat, but sending them swag, all of that stuff is.
To Adam's point, make introductions.
Yeah, make digital virtual introductions.
Introduce them to people who are close to them.
Right,
introduce them, exactly.
Right, like set their schedule, and I've seen this done well too, is where you set that schedule for the first week or few days where it's all quick 10-minute intro calls. And it's mandatory in the company. You know, if someone's joining your team, even if you're not their direct, supervisor, that you could have a quick, even 5 minutes. Hey, Danielle, I'm Adam. Welcome to the team. Here's what I do here. Looking forward to having you. Where you're coming from. Have that just connection face to face before you just go straight digital.
And I would also say, like, reinforce it amongst your team that they are part of the onboarding process. Like, they are a crucial part because they're friendly. Now they're a friendly face. Now this person is gonna, come and rely on them for something, or, you never know what people are going to attach to, and based on what commonalities you have with them. I mean, it's so important to just be nice. Be nice.
It's not that hard. Even take our friends up in Canada. It's in their DNA to be nice.
They're born with it.
They're born with it.
But
unless we get annexed by the U.S. But
there are so many like remote work, experts out there. I've been on several lists of like top 50 remote work experts. I would go check out those lists and find those people and their content. One of them, Rowena Hannigan. She's amazing.
Yeah. Well, Serge, let's keep the tradition going here. It's our last show of 2024. You're a big part of this show here. We love you over here. Wishing you a happy and a healthy holiday. But give us that one intention for 2025.
Focus.
I
2025, instead of diversify, I'm just going to focus on what I can do. There's a couple of things that I just gotta kill it in 2025.
I love that.
So I'm excited. Focus.
Yeah, cut the noise, right? Like cut the noise. It's guys out there, practice saying no, right? Practice saying no to things that are draining your energy, that are draining your power. And it's simple things. Like, you don't have to say yes to every request. You don't have to say yes to every phone call.
You don't need to do every single live show that somebody approaches you on.
I mean, except for the podcast end of your show. I mean, that's a tradition. We don't say no to that, right? Joel, 4 years we've been doing that. It's great.
It is great.
Danielle's making her premiere here. And Serge, if I like you,
why is Serge not on there?
Because I don't like him enough. I haven't spent next year.
Maybe next year, Adam.
Maybe. So, Serge, we want to thank you so much for your contributions to the HR Morning Show and to this community here. Everyone, please follow Serge. Check out all the cool things that he's doing over there. Serge, we thank you. We appreciate you. Happy and a healthy New Year. Let's keep the show rolling.
Boom, boom, boom.
Love you guys.
We got another caller. And I will say we have a very popular, possibly the most popular guest ever on the HR Morning Show. Your post about this absolutely blew up. How the heck are you?
It's so good to see you, friend. And sorry, my video might be a little bit choppy, but it's so good to see you.
You too. For anyone who does not know you, DeMario, will you give us a little bit of a taste of an introduction? Tell us who you are and what you do best.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to be here. Well, as many folks know, I'm DeMario Bell. I used to lead the HR community, our Culture First community at Culture Amp. I'm a community builder at heart. I love connecting people together. I'm an introvert. I always tell people I'm an introvert. I know that's so shocking for people to learn of me, but I really am. But what I do best, Danielle, is like bringing people together for purposeful connections. Like, I love community building. I get out of bed for it. It's something that I think about all the time. I love it.
Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I don't know about you.
You and I, we met through community. I like the admiration and all of that is mutual. Like, I simply adore you.
Oh, you're so sweet. But really, one of my predictions for the year is around community, right? Community being the focus. And I know for us community builders, it's kind of annoying because it's like we've been talking about community and the importance of it for so many years. But I think that in 2025, community will be the main character. I think people in sales, across marketing, people are really starting to embrace recruiting. Everyone's starting to embrace this. What would you say is like a hot take about community and where we're going in this next year?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on his head. Community is more needed now than ever. And I think people are now starting to better learn and understand what exactly is community, what does it mean for the workplace, but also what does it mean for like other parts of our lives. As I've said in 2024, and I think this trend will be true in 2025, is Danielle, people are going to want to find their people in 2025. So micro communities will be very important. So if you're in an organization, ERGs are going to be really important for folks. When you talk about onboarding, what role does ERGs play in that onboarding process as well? How do onboarding leaders help onboard some of your new members? For folks who might not be a part of an ERG, how might you just start this unofficial club of people who who are similar to you? So I really think that micro communities will be that thing that is a big part of the employee experience in 2025.
Heard it here first on the HR Morning Show. DeMario talking about micro communities. Well, I'd love to dig into that, but we are going to be talking about something today that is honestly a little bit controversial. I love it. And that I was like reading through like what it is, and I was like, oh, you know what? I might have been through that in my toxic work experience. Toxic work has been a little bit of a buzzword in the past few weeks. But you're bringing up a new term, which is Stockholm syndrome. What? Tell us more. Tell us.
Yeah. So you're right, Danielle. Like when I was like reading through this, I'm like, maybe I've gone through this before. But I want to talk today about, corporate Stockholm syndrome, like you said. And so many of us have heard of Stockholm syndrome in a hostage context where a victim grow attached to their captors.
Right.
And we really talk about this, like the work equivalent of that, Danielle. So today I really want to shed light on something that, I've heard, which is called corporate Stockholm syndrome. And this is where employees remain fiercely loyal to organizations, to leaders, or cultures that steadily erode their well-being, leaving them feel trapped and or undervalued. I tell people it's like this hidden dynamic that doesn't get enough discussion, or at least in the circles that I'm in, we haven't been talking about it a lot. And I really do think that HR has a big role in addressing this.
So how do you think people can, like, what does it look like? How can people kind of spot it? What are some of the warning signs, both for the individual as well as like at an organization?
Yeah, so I'm gonna hit that in two ways. So some examples of corporate Stockholm syndrome. One that I have is, let's just say that an employee is steadily defending like a micromanaging, berating boss because they push me to do my best. And meanwhile, this constant scrutiny and negativity is crushing their confidence and killing their enthusiasm. A second one, which I hear more often than not, I mean, I used to lead an HR community, so you can imagine I've heard a lot of things,
Yeah.
but I've also met a lot of people as well. But when people justify working 60 hours a week, so working on the weekends, the constant late nights, emailing, and this whole thing of feeling grateful of, well, at least they haven't laid me off in this market, or at least that I have a job. And we know, Danielle, that leads to chronic stress and poor health. And we're convinced that it's all at the price of success. Well, if that is what success looked like, then child, I don't want it,
Great.
But and then the other thing to that is, so when you talk about like, how do we break this cycle? So I would say that fear is like a powerful factor. So employees, they worry about losing financial stability. They don't want to tarnish their professional relationship or end up in a worse situation. So this mindset keeps them locked in. I often heard, my colleagues say, and like early on in my career, like golden handcuffs. And when I started to like even repeat that myself, I'm like, not only is that language unproductive, it's also unhelpful. So we start to like normalize this cycle of underappreciation and mistreatment. And the bottom line, Danielle, is just flat out like disrespect.
Yeah.
And so I would say like what HR leaders can do to break.
Before you get there, I do want to double click on something because it's something that comes up a lot in my comment section, right? So I talk a lot about Gen Z in the workplace.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, the common fodder that we might hear is like, oh, Gen Z has to pay their dues. And oftentimes, the feedback is like, oh, well, you just need to stick it out and you need to like work hard and at least you have a job, like all the things that you were just talking about. So how do you how do you distinguish between a situation where someone, is feeling like, oh wow, like I feel like I'm really being mistreated, versus someone who's like, oh well, maybe I do need to like pay my dues. Like what's the difference? How do you, and like what even is paying your dues? I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'll give you an example, to be quite honest with you, because I heard that as a millennial, and when
Yeah.
millennials were entering the workplace. And I'll tell you this, and I want to have a moment of vulnerability with you. I remember going into my first job, which was an entry level role, which, by the way, was the best job I ever had because it allowed me to be a generalist, whereas now I have to be a specialist as opposed to a generalist. But I was taking on a new project, and there were other stakeholders involved, and I received biased information around the other stakeholders. So it did bias how I interacted with them. And so I actually had a colleague of mine who was older than me, more senior, actually take me to lunch, Danielle, and had a really thoughtful conversation with me. And it was in the context of paying your dues. And what he meant by that was, DeMario, you have to establish credibility and respect. Because if once you establish credibility and respect, then people can hear you. When I was listening earlier in the show, when we were talking about how onboarding is important, relationship building in the onboarding process is so important, because Danielle, if I don't know you, then you're less likely to collaborate with me or trust what I have to say as a leader. So when I hear pay your dues, I'm going based off the experience I had, where it was coming from a place of positive intent, where it was just like, gain muscle, learn how things work, and then start to, push boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is
Be a
me.
team player.
Team player, exactly. Where it becomes toxic, where you might be in a dynamic where you might have someone who is making you feel like you should just be grateful that you're here. Like you are just like you are, a token. The constant disrespect, questioning your work, not speaking your name in rooms that you should be in, asking you, Danielle, to give more than to the company than the company is providing to you. So
Yeah.
those are some signs to look out for. I tell people the work relationship has to be as equal as possible. Now, there are going to be days where there's going to be like a little bit more give and a little bit more take. But I believe that if the organization is extracting more value than it's providing, then that's the time to take a step back to say, hey, is this the place that I should be in right now?
And then when it comes to like corporate Stockholm syndrome, right? That's kind of a different beast, where you've entered into this period of acceptance and
Yes.
maybe like, essentially like alignment with that toxic culture. You've really allowed it to like penetrate, who you are and how you're behaving. What do you think people can do, and maybe HR could do, to help change this, to help, turn the page and get rid of this toxicity and this like corporate, Stockholm syndrome type behavior?
So I wish I could be so optimistic and idealistic about it, Danielle, and normally I am. But I want to say that people are just going to be people at the end of the day. And
Mm.
so I would say, and we've talked about this in 2024, and I'm going to say this just to say it again, psychological safety. But when we talk about psychological safety, who are we talking about? Because I heard that a lot in 2024, and I would push people, when we talk about psychological safety, what groups are we talking about? Because there are more groups who have the privilege to be safe and empowered to be safe than others. So let's be clear on when we talk about psychological safety, is who are we talking about, and like who's fostering that? Then the second piece of that, Danielle, is redefining loyalty, because a key part of
Mm.
corporate Stockholm syndrome is loyalty. So I believe that, and HR folks and managers have to reinforce that loyalty is earned and it's reciprocal, and it's grounded in respect,
Mm.
integrity, and growth opportunities than this blind allegiance. Like you have to prove yourself to me in order for us to invest in you. Child, I don't want that. And then the last thing I would say is that train managers to spot, signs of corporate Stockholm syndrome and proactively take the steps to address them. So this could be looking like adjusting workloads, revising policies, simply holding open and empathetic conversations that can be held in the one-on-one session. And then, as every company should be doing, which is constantly thinking through, like, what culture are you fostering in your organization? What behaviors are you rewarding that are in line with that culture as well? Because if you are rewarding maladaptive behaviors, then that will contribute to the corporate Stockholm syndrome, because the people who are, you know, participating in this toxic work environment is making it harder for the people who are being burdened and hurt by that. And
Right.
so, but I'll say this, in some real talk, Danielle, we've all been in a place in a job where, let me just say me, I've been in a places in
We
jobs
both.
where you get used to the work. So the rhythm of the work just becomes natural. And you're just like, I'm just going to collect my money, put my head down and do my work. The challenge in that doesn't absolve you from the problem as well. So then you start to build more and more resentment. So I would tell,
Right.
employees, our peers, when you start noticing that you are excusing bad behavior for your employee on a constant basis, that's a moment for you to take a step back to reevaluate if that's the place for you.
100%. Well, thank you for bringing this topic. This is a new one for me, but it's one that makes a lot of sense, and it's one I think that probably a lot of people, more people than we think, are going through and suffering through, to be honest. But let's end it on the positive note.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to in 2025 when it comes to work and life and like your own outlook for 2025?
So I think that we've all been in this hybrid situation now, Danielle, at mass and at scale for the past 4 years. I think 2025 will be our fifth year. And I think we're now starting to really get this rhythm of, like, what does an integrated life look like in terms of, like, work and home and all the other things. One of the things that I've seen people in my circle, what they've been doing and what I have been doing, it's like interrogating my relationship with work. So instead of work being the center of that pie, work just becomes a part of that. So I think in 2025,
Yeah.
we're going to see more and more people who are really intentional around the role that work plays in their lives and making sure that things are as balanced as possible for them. At least
Boundaries.
for me. Yeah, boundaries. Absolutely.
Boundaries. All right, our word for 2025 is boundaries.
Yes,
And
I was going to say that too.
beautiful, and maybe some beautiful integration. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you back soon, and Happy New Year, happy holidays.
Same to you, my friend. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Ring. All right. Okay, we're gonna get there. There we go.
Hello.
Hello, Jada. Welcome to Purple Acorn family. Why don't you give us a quick intro on who you are?
Yes, so my name is Jada Montemorano, and I am a brand new member of the Purple Acorn family. And like you said, I have a new show with you guys called From the Desk with Jada Montemorano. It's coming out this Friday. Super excited. And a little bit of just background on me. I'm a news reporter, TV anchor, host, all of the things in the media world there, content creator now, we got to do it all. So excited to be here and joining the team. This is my first podcast that I am doing. So I'm very excited about it.
I love it. I love it. And I love the name From the Desk too. It's amazing. And I know your first guest on Friday is the one and only Tim Sackett. So guys, if you're a fan of Tim, you've got to check out the show. So you're a news reporter. How do you think the news reporting skills will translate to podcasting? Like, is there a different similarity? And like, even just viewing some of this live show, what are some of the differences? What are some of the similarities there?
It's a little bit different in the sense it's more of that conversation, which I like better. Sometimes now I'm in my freelance era, as I like to call it. I feel like all of us are now. I've been listening in this job market, you know how it is. So when I've been working for different jobs, I do notice that it's rare for people to not show up with questions, but like I don't show up with questions. I just like having a conversation. Obviously, I do my research. And for this show, I've been formulating questions more. I just like to have that conversation. I like to give and take, bounce off of what people are saying. And usually in the news world, it's definitely more structured. But I've been doing this, for 10 years, and I really don't show up with a list of questions that I go based off of. So that's why podcasting is a little bit better. And we said we wanted to keep it super conversational. Yes, it's from the desk. I'm more of that news anchor background, but I have a big wide personality and I like to just chit chat and have a conversation and make people feel comfortable. So I love that this is a new medium I get to do that on.
I love it. I love it. And the best thing about a live show too is anything can happen. Like we have technical difficulties. There is a ton that can happen. When it comes to HR, like, when you were approached about doing an HR show, like what did you think about HR? And I guess like what's your impression of the HR industry so far? And like what's your kind of overall thought about HR?
So I have to be honest, I really knew nothing about it. I was like, what is HR tech? What does this mean? What is talent acquisition? Like I said, good news reporter I am. I did a lot of research and the team has been very helpful. But even I interviewed Sir last week as well, so you'll see him on the show. But I did a few interviews back to back to have them in the bank. And just from those conversations, I was like, okay, wait a second. This is not about the technology. It's not about all of these buzzwords and terms in the HR world. In the current state of the society that we're in, and you guys were talking about this earlier with your guests, it's all about how terrible the job market is and how hard it is for people to get jobs. And that's what I spoke about with Tim. And as a little teaser preview, Tim was really honest, which I was shocked about with all of his experience. I know some people get nervous to say things, but he was basically saying that if companies are ghosting you, they're bad companies. And we need to make a website that says, kind of like Glassdoor or like an employee version of, we can write about these companies and what they were like during the hiring process. And I did 7 rounds of interviews and never even got a thank you, we're going in a different direction. And I have so many friends right now that are going through this. Like I said, I'm in my freelance era. So it's so timely right now that we should just talk about it. My podcast should be called The Unemployment Diaries or something. Like we really need people to understand that it's a bigger issue and what everybody is feeling. Everybody is feeling. I feel like it becomes such an alone feeling when you're going through this job process. I know my friend is more of in the business side of things, and she's been trying to get a new job for years and going through 4, 5, 6 rounds of interviews, and she'll get ghosted half the time. And I'm like, now I understand. And speaking with everybody for this show, everybody is noticing that. And I really found that interesting. And I think everybody can take something away from your show, my show, and really learn and kind of maybe make themselves feel better that it's not their fault they're not getting these jobs.
Yeah, and I know you touched upon this a little bit, but I guess from like your perspective, it sounds like you've done maybe a little bit of job searching yourself. You got friends who are job searching. Like when you're looking at it from like an outside perspective, like what are your thoughts on kind of the job market as a whole? Considering too, and this is something I talk about a lot. A lot of the media outlets will say this is a hot labor market. There's lots of jobs out there. Unemployment is low. Like, is there some discrepancy there? Like, what are we really experiencing?
I honestly think this is the worst job market we've had in like my adult generation, obviously 2008, but I was a kid then. So I think just this is a whole new environment that we've never experienced before. I know one of your previous guests was talking about how the pandemic really led to this. And at least in my industry, in the media industry, my fiance works in sports. I have a lot of other friends who work in different divisions. Every single person and every single company is having layoffs. Nexstar, Scripps are companies that own local news markets. They all just did like 40% layoffs over the past year. So no one has a job and everybody's looking for a job. And then from your guys' perspective, from the other end, from the hiring end, there's only so many jobs to fill. So I think it's just kind of disastrous. And I don't know. 2024 has been a really not great year. We say this every year. Maybe 2025 will be better. I don't know. But I just know, at least from working in media, even I know people at Entertainment Tonight that have been there for 40 years and got laid off this year. So it's not really that great.
Well, I talk about it all the time too. Like the reality is in 2024, 2025, and beyond, there is no job that's stable. And I know a lot of people will say, well, what about healthcare? What about construction? right? And I think there's certain industries that may be a little bit more resilient, but that's because there's not a lot of people that go into those industries. But as a whole, you have to look and almost protect yourself, right? You've got to be able to either freelance like you're doing, like pick up something on the side. You got to learn those skills that companies want. But at the end of the day, I think the whole narrative around, hey, this is a company that you can be loyal to and work for 20, 30 years and spend your life at, like that just seems to completely go by the wayside. So in the interviews you've had so far, what's the like the most interesting thing you've learned, or like the most eye opening thing that you've learned? I guess going forward, what are you excited to kind of learn more about when it comes to like the HR, TA, and this whole space?
I think the most interesting is the fact that all of the people I spoke to are in the HR hiring world, but are also saying that there's a lot of flaws and there's a lot of issues with this technology, with AI. And for people who created these companies, you think they would say, no, we're the best. We've got it all figured out. So I was a little more shocked that they were very honest, that there are a lot of issues that need to be worked on from employees applying and from the company end. And another thing I was shocked about, again, talking about that HR technology, that you still need to reach out human to human and email. Obviously, I knew that, and I think everybody knows that. But from hearing from these professionals that want to probably promote their tech and applying online and using a resume, every single person said, no, you still need to email. You still need to find people on LinkedIn. You need to have that reference. And I'm like, so then what's the point of this all? Like, and
What do you
I
think
don't
about
there's
these
an
AI?
answer.
We were talking about these AI agents earlier on in the show. What's your thought from being like somebody who's not in the industry? You get a call for an interview and it's AI, or you get the option to just have an AI call with an AI interviewer. What's your feeling about that?
I hate it. I hate all of it.
Really?
AI is coming for my jobs. I feel like just I I'm the like least technological millennial like you'll ever meet. I don't even use Apple Pay on my phone. I don't even use the YouTube app. I still use Safari. Like as much as I'm a video editor and I'm a content creator, I'm so opposite with that. And I've never even really used ChatGPT. I've been trying to like get my fingers into it because everybody's using it.
Yeah.
But I don't like that it makes things easier and I don't like that it takes away our creativity and that human to human interaction. I don't even like when I call Bank of America and I get the automated person. I just yell speak to agent a million times. So that's just my opinion on it. I think there's ways that it can make it easier, but even speaking I forget who said it. I don't remember if it was Tim or not. Even just the AI in the HR space, as we're talking about, they said it's not helpful because people are making resumes that are lying, that are made by AI to fit all of these jobs, and they're not true. And when AI tries to cycle through on the other end of the resumes, that's not really seamless either. So I don't know. I'm very anti AI.
Yeah. Look, I think if people are using this technology, number one, you gotta be really planned and thoughtful with it. And I do agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of, even on a job seeker side, there's auto apply tools which will just automatically apply to jobs. Obviously, the more applicants companies get, the less likelihood it is for them to get through every single applicant. So then you get a large majority of people just get going into that black hole, which you talked about, which is essentially you apply to a job, you never hear back, or maybe you go through the process and you get ghosted. And so there's a lot of these issues which I don't think technology is going to solve for right away. But I think with these AI agents doing the screening call, for example, I actually interviewed people on the street about this, and it was interesting. It was like pretty split. Like there were some people who were like, I don't care if I'm talking to a robot or a human. I just want the job. Like that's I'm not applying to have the interview. Like I'm
No, that
applying
is
to get the
true.
job. So it's it'll be interesting. But I'm excited to check out your show. Where can people find more about you and what you're up to?
I am at Jada Montemorano on mostly all social medias. I think I'm Jada Eats on TikTok because I'm also a foodie and a food reporter.
Yeah, I love
I
that.
do it all. I have a lot of interests. And yeah, basically Jada Montemorano on everything. I have a unique name, so I don't have underscores or letters or anything like that.
I love it. And you got a website too that people could check out?
Yes, JadaMontemorano.com. That's basically just kind of like my resume website. So if you're hiring, I have all of my basically news stuff on there as well. But social media is basically where I'm more myself and promote the work I'm doing as well.
All right, and I will keep the tradition here. Adam has been asking all of his guests, what is your intention for 2025?
I've been saying this. I just need this year to be over. It was my 30th birthday year. The second I turned 30 in January, it just went downhill. It's we don't need to get into it, but it's just been a terrible year all around. So honestly, I just need 2025 to be better. I'm getting married, so I need all the positive vibes. We cannot do 2025 wrong. So
Well, that's exciting. So it's going to be a good year. I will say I had a great start to 2025 because on January 2nd, my third child was born. And I
oh,
was like,
congrats.
it was amazing, but it was like the year cannot get better than that. You know, it's like you have the birth of a kid, second day of the year. But I'm with you. It's been a tough couple of years. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. So 2025, let's say the intention is just be better.
Just be better. We need some positivity.
I love it. Well, check out Jada's new show. Again, that's going to be premiering on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can check it out on the Purple Acorn show. It's also going to stream live, I believe, to your LinkedIn. We'll have a couple of the locations. And you're not going to want to miss the episode with Tim. You guys know Tim. Tim is an absolute legend. And we're excited. So welcome to the family. And can't wait to do some more collaborations here, Jada. Great to meet you.
Yes.
And guys, go follow Jada. Go connect with her on LinkedIn. Go to her website as well. And we will be wrapping up the show in just a moment. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And that's how you do
That
it.
is
The
it.
Purple Acorn family continues to grow. We have some amazing new shows this year. You guys could check out the Alder Hour with Matt Alder, Mondays at 12 Pacific time, 3 on the East Coast here. Stay tuned for Hire Her, a Talent Collective podcast, Wednesdays at 11. My First Job with Mike with Thursdays at 11 Pacific time. Could we just lead with the Eastern time? There's only one time in my head. Could we just start with that? It really bothers me. And a new one from our friend Jada Montemorano, premiering Friday. It premiered already last week with Tim Sackett. Definitely check it out. First of all, I want to give a huge thanks to the team that you do not see in the background here. We would not be here without folks.
Let's get them on screen.
Melinda,
Let's put them on screen.
Serge, you don't want. It's really early on the West Coast. There's a reason they're not on camera right now. But I want to give a huge thanks to our team that we would not be here without. There's magic behind here. We're not controlling all the buttons here. I want to thank my co-host Joel and Danielle. It's been an incredible 24 episodes. I think we've done in 2020, 24 and 2024, something like that.
And we've reached thousands of people. So if
Hundreds
you guys
of thousands.
are looking to
Millions.
Zillions.
sponsor and get in front of HR and TA
Nice.
pros, hit us up. Any of us. We're going through like 8 channels right now.
Yeah, there's
You
so
wanna
much
get involved.
opportunity. And we're not looking for sponsors. We're looking for partners. That's what we're looking for here. We're looking for partners, people that want to do things collaboratively to get the good word out of the good people and good companies out there in the HR and TA space.
I'm gonna start using that when people reach out to me and they're like, "Do we're looking for influence?" I'm like, "I'm looking for partners."
Joel, take that.
I've already been doing that.
You borrow enough content. You could certainly take that one.
That's gonna be my new pitch.
So let's
partners.
Let's wrap this up, folks. Let's go around the horn here. Joel, what's your word of intention for 2025?
I think for me, just discipline. Just want to stay. I think Serge had focus. I totally feel that. Like I tend to be somebody who I try lots and lots of different things, and I'm always doing a million things. I'm just focusing on recruitment,
Facebook.
training, and media. So
And Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, shout out to Facebook, my Facebook crew. But yeah, discipline.
Danielle.
I'm going to say a phrase, but it's zone of genius. Like, stay in my zone of genius and like don't try to be too much at once. Stay in your zone, do the things you do best, and hopefully be magnetic.
You are.
What about you, Adam? Take us
For me, I'm going to continue with my 2024 mantra because it really worked, and I'm going to continue to make shit happen. That's what it's all about. Set out with an intention and execute on it. make things happen. This goes to all the job seekers out there. We know how hard this is. We know how hard it is. We've all been there before. But stay positive, plan your work your plan, and have faith. That's what the holidays are about. Everyone out there, thank you for joining us in 2024. On behalf of Joel, Danielle, myself, and the entire Purple Acorn crew, we wish you and your family a wonderful, happy, healthy holiday season and an incredible new year. Don't miss our two recap shows. Next Tuesday, the day Christmas Eve, and Tuesday on New Year's Eve day. And don't forget to tune in. You can catch us live, one more chance, next Friday, the 27th, on the podcast and the Year Show broadcasting on my channels. On behalf of everyone here, happy and healthy holidays. This is the HR Morning Crew. Take care. See you next year.
Later.
Bye.
AC.